Hi guys, thank you for joining me today as I make my pumpkin ravioli with brown butter and crispy sage. This is a dish that Greg and I shared in New York one year and it was so fabulous. Tender little raviolis with all the flavors of fall, crispy sage and brown butter makes anything better. These are very simple to make. You can make fresh pasta, which is insanely easy and very inexpensive to make, and it cooks so fast, like in 2 or 3 minutes it's done because you don't have all the preservatives. Or you could take a shortcut and use pre-made wonton wrappers from the produce section. Here are the ingredients we'll need. You can refer back to these at the end or visit my blog for a printable recipe. Let's get started on making our fresh pasta dough. You'll see how easy it is because my kids will make it. Now your dough needs to be not too soft. It should require some serious effort when you're kneading it, but you don't want to make it too tough because it's going to be hard for your pasta machine to handle or hard for you to roll out. So you'll kind of get a feel for it. Anyway, sift your flour onto a clean work surface and make a well in the center with your fist. We're going to use about 1 2/3 cups of flour. Then break a couple of large eggs into the well and add a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and a pinch of kosher salt. Now, we're going to gradually mix the egg mixture into the flour using the fingers of your hand, bringing the ingredients together into a firm dough. If your dough feels too dry, just add a few drops of water. If it's too wet, add a little bit more flour. Knead the dough until it's smooth, maybe about 5 minutes. Lightly massage it with just a hint of olive oil and pop your dough into a plastic food bag. Let it rest for at least 30 minutes. Your pasta will be much more elastic after it's resting as that gluten will rest and relax. Now we're going to pass the dough through the pasta machine. Divide the pasta dough into 4 sections. Keep each section either covered or wrapped so it doesn't dry out. Flour the dough and also flour the rollers of your pasta roller or your rolling pin, and obviously your hands and your work surface. Not a lot, just a little. Start to feed the blob of pasta through the widest setting of the pasta machine. As the sheets of dough comes out, fold it into thirds and feed it through the rollers again, still on the widest setting. I like to pass the dough through this wide setting 4 or 5 times. This is going to effectively knead the dough and also ensure that the resulting pasta is going to be silky and smooth. Then you can start putting it through the machine again, gradually reducing the settings, making them thinner one at a time until the pasta achieves the required thickness. If it becomes too long, or if you have trouble keeping the dough from folding over onto itself, just cut it in half or thirds and feed them through separately. It's going to be fine. Generally, we're going to use the second from last setting for a filled pasta like ravioli or cannelloni or something like that. Here you can see how long, insanely long it will get, so I think I'll cut this. After the pasta has gotten the thickness that you want it and the feeling and the texture, just dust it with a little flour and put it on some clean kitchen towels and let it just rest a few minutes. I'm going to cut the sheets into 6 rectangles that are about 7 inches each. This is going to be long enough to go over my little pasta machine or my little ravioli maker. Next I'm going to just lay it out and make my filling. This filling takes like 3 minutes to make. Just dump together a half of a small can of pumpkin, not pumpkin pie mix, just pumpkin, 4 ounces of reduced fat cream cheese, 1/4 cup of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano, 6 chopped sage leaves, and a little salt and white pepper to taste. That's it. I mean, you just dump it together and mix it, and that's your filling. Place your thinly rolled out pasta sheets over your ravioli maker mold. We're going to put about a tablespoon or so of the filling in there, in each of the little holes. And then remember, just a side note, don't wear black pants when you're doing this. And then brush around each of the filling with water. Just put the water on your finger and brush around each of them because we want to seal the raviolis together. Excuse me. Alternately, you can brush the whole upper pasta sheet with water and then place the whole sheet over the bottom one with the wet side touching the bottom. Next, cover the first sheet with the filling with the second sheet. And if you're using a knife or a pizza wheel, you can cut them apart at this point. But you can also run over them with a little rolling pin, and this will kind of actually cut the dough by itself. So here you can see my daughter just rolling over it with a little rolling pin, and the ravioli maker has little raised edges and will seal itself and cut all at once. Now you want to make particularly sure that you get out all the air bubbles, because these can expand when they're boiling, and then that will burst your ravioli and they won't be cute. So just repeat with all your remaining fillings and your pasta sheets until you used up all the filling. Now these can be just popped in a bag once they're dried and frozen, which would make dinner really, really fast. So go ahead and make all you have, because we've already done the work. When these come out of the ravioli maker, they are so cute. Now, this goes really fast now. Place the ravioli in boiling water and cook them in batches if you need to until the pasta is just cooked al dente, maybe about 2 minutes, maybe 3. They're going to float at the top when they're ready, so you'll know. Here they are floating. And so I'm ready to remove them from the water. I'm going to use my spider, or you can use a slotted spoon or spatula. You don't want to just dump them into a colander in the sink, because these are a bit more delicate than just a big pot of noodles. Now cover them lightly to keep them warm while you're making your sauce. That's going to be important. We don't want them cold. The sauce, you cannot get any easier than this. All we're going to do is heat a saute pan over medium-high heat, and when it's hot, I'm going to add the butter and let it melt in one spot. Do not move the pan. When the butters begin to brown on the edges, pick up the pan and swirl it to keep melting the melted butter from burning and to melt the remaining butter. Add your sage leaves and reduce the heat to medium. Continue to cook until the leaves are crispy, 1 or 2 minutes, and then season with salt and pepper. Carefully remove the crispy sage leaves to drain and dry on a paper towel. I know that you're thinking sage is very, very strong, but somehow when they're fried, they're not nearly as strong as the fresh ones. And when you put them in your mouth, they just crumble into a million bits. They're so yummy, and they're a beautiful garnish. You have to try this. To serve, simply lay your warm ravioli in a shallow bowl and spoon that beautiful brown butter over the top. Garnish with the crispy sage leaves and sprinkle all this with toasted chopped walnut pieces and a grating of fresh Parmigiano Reggiano, and serve immediately. They're so tender and soft, and you have that nuttiness from the brown butter, the crispy sage leaves, the nutty walnuts. It's a beautiful dish for the fall with all your favorite fall flavors, and it really is so simple. I hope you'll try this recipe, because I think you'll like it, and I hope you'll come back for more. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.